Hello everybody, Toreno here, and welcome back to the War Thunder dev server. As you can see up here, it's patch 1.51, which sort of came out of nowhere. They just started announcing random vehicles on their on War Thunder social media sites, and then they dropped the dev server on us. Again, it was a bit of a low-key affair, so I've only noticed at the last second again, only just downloaded it. So I haven't got much time to look at the vehicles. We're just going to be looking at the new vehicles in the hangar. Not really going to be test flying them or looking at the new maps, unfortunately. There isn't actually much in this new patch. It is basically, in this dev server version, it's basically new vehicles and a few new sound effects. That's pretty much it, and a few new decals, I think. But we're going to look at the new vehicles in the hangar, and we're going to start off with the Hurricane Mark IV. So you can see here the Hurricane Mark IV, and you can see the stat card up here. Now, a quick disclaimer, these do tend to change between the dev server and the live release. These are preliminary stats and battle ratings, and they can and probably will change between now and the release date, but we'll go with them for the moment. You can see it's a battle rating 2.3. You need 7,900 RP to unlock it. 307 miles per hour max speed, turn time 23.7 seconds, rate of climb 13.3, and it's armed with two 40mm cannons with 72 rounds each. Or not each, 72 rounds altogether, sorry. And you can see it's a nice looking little aircraft. And we're going to go to modifications because there is a bit of a bad side. Only armour-piercing tracer shells, which is, it kind of makes sense. Britain never really produced high explosive shells for its tank guns or its large caliber weapons for some reason. So I think this is actually kind of historically accurate, which, good for historical accuracy, not very good for us who want to blow stuff up. We're just going to be stuck with armour-piercing rounds, unfortunately, but it's a nice looking little aircraft. And it doesn't come with any other armament, unfortunately, so this is going to play a bit like the new Stukas, or the Stuka Ju-87Gs. They're not new, I don't know why I said they were new. You can also see that this seems to have more armour than the regular Hurricanes, especially around the engine areas and below the pilot, which, should protect the, you can see one's about below the liquid cooling system in the engine, so like I said, it should protect the engines from ground fire. Well, that's how it probably would have been intended when it was designed. In game, it's not going to be as much use because, it's mainly aircraft we're going to be dealing with, but this should hopefully improve survivability of the Hurricane Mark IV. But we're going to look at the other British aircraft. What other aircraft are there? You can see that the Hurricane Mark IV and the Mark IIB have been folded, so that's made that a bit neater. The other new change is to do with the Firebrand TF.MK.IV. They've actually listed it twice in the patch notes, so it's pretty important. I don't know if this is a new aircraft. I don't remember it, but I honestly don't remember if this is a new aircraft or not. I think it is, because they've got like these weird designations for the armour 20, instead of just armour. I believe this is a new aircraft, but I could be totally wrong. It doesn't look like anything I've flown before. You can see it's just an ordinary pilot and fuel tank in front. It's pretty big. Battle rating 4.7. Required RP is 50,000. Where else have we got? Max speed 450 miles an hour. Turn time 21 seconds. Rate of climb 22 seconds. We're going to check the modifications. It takes a lot of bombs and rockets. I seriously don't think I have flown this aircraft, because I don't remember any aircraft in the Fleet Air Arm that I've played so far with torpedoes, and I've got pretty far in the regular server. On the dev server, I'm not that far. But I'll have to check the regular server and, post an annotation saying if it is a new aircraft or not. I'm pretty sure it is. It could explain why it's listed twice. They've got, in the patch notes, they've got Firebrand new model, and then after that they've got Firebrand. So possibly they've added the plane and then since updated the model. But that's pretty much everything for the UK Air Forces. Of course, there's still no British tanks. So we'll move on to Japan quickly, who have got 3 new planes. The J2M5 and the J2M5 Premium. Where's J2M5? Again, it's been folded with the J2M3, so just J2Ms now. We'll look at that first. 75,000 RP to get. Battle rating of 5.3. Max speed 416 miles an hour. Turn time 19 seconds. Rate of climb 12.8. armed with four 20mm cannons. Two are Mark 1s, two are Mark 2s of the Type 99 type. It does look like a pretty good model. I think it was meant to be better at high altitude interception. I could be wrong. And again, you can tell it's new because it's got this weird designation for the armour, Glass 12, Armour 8. It looks like a nice little aircraft. Not really much else to say about it. Jet modifications. Can carry two 60-kilogram bombs, but they're not really useful. And you can see here it's got all of its air belts ready. Universal ground targets, tracers. It seems to be pretty much the same for both guns, both 20mm cannons. So yeah, it looks pretty good. Got your standard high explosive, armor piercing incendiary. Yeah, I think this will do pretty good. This plane. We'll compare it to the battle rating of the J2M3. So the same battle rating. They both have identical stats, so it's possible it's just a placeholder that and they're going to add the proper stats later. Although generally I don't look at the stats and rely on them that much. But with regards to the dev server, we haven't got much choice, unfortunately. The J2M5 Premium seems to have the same stats, so I'm guessing it's going to be pretty much the same. Oh, it's actually this one has different armament. It's got two 30mm cannons. I didn't realise that. And again, two 60-kilogram bombs. It doesn't have any different ammo outloads. It's got practice shell, high explosive fragmentation, high explosive fragmentation incendiary shell, and high explosive fragmentation tracer. And you can see the cannons are pretty big. There's two of them, 84 shells altogether. I think this could do well, especially against bombers, but I don't know. I have very bad experiences for the Japanese cannons, unfortunately. I don't know. They're just so low velocity. You aim at the little aiming recital in arcade, and all your shots miss. Your bullets, like from your regular machine guns, hit, but all the cannon shells just completely miss. Now, one of the other new aircraft we've got is the KI-44. I almost completely missed it. I don't know why. I just completely forgot it was on here. I don't think there's an information. No, there's no information. No armour that I can see. It looks a pretty sleek aircraft. As far as I'm aware, this was less manoeuvrable than the KI-43s, but had better speed. On here it's battle rating 2.7, RP 9,200, max speed 347 miles an hour, turn time 16.5 seconds, and rate of climb 21.6 seconds. A pretty good rate of climb, and it seems like a pretty nice aircraft. We check the armaments, or we check modifications. Oh, nice looking engine sort of from the front. It's armed with four machine guns, two 7.7mm and two 12.7mm. And you've got your standard loadouts, except for the 7.7mm, which doesn't show. Apparently it can carry bombs, but they aren't showing up in the top corner where they usually are. Up to 250 kilograms of bombs. I don't know if that's one or two. Usually they carry two, but I don't know for sure because I can't actually see it. It's actually below the KI-43 Otsu, so which seems a bit odd, but there we go. So hopefully this will be a nice little addition for the Japanese lower tiers. A good little army counterpart. It's battle rating 2.7. I don't. Have they got any other army at 2.7? No. They got the KI-61. So maybe they could, move them about. And it's a nice little addition. They've both got the same armament, so probably just different manoeuvrability. So good to see that being added in. And again, that's pretty much it for the Japanese. So that's the J2M5 Raiden Premium with the 30mm cannons. They're the same Type 5 cannons as used on the other Japanese planes, so if you've used them, you'll probably know what you're getting out of the J2M5, basically. So we move on to the Russians, and they've got a few new aircraft. One really interesting addition is the Hurricane MK IIB. It's a premium. So you're probably thinking, Toreno, what's so different about that? It's a Lend-Lease aircraft. But it's got Russian weapons. It's got 20mm Shvat cannons and 12.7mm Berezin UB machine guns. I believe Leicester actually confirmed last year, or a good few months ago, that they were going to be adding these sorts of vehicles, you know, Lend-Lease vehicles which were sent to Russia and modified by the Russians. And again, it's got the standard armour, 20mm. I think it's actually got the same stats as the normal Hurricane Mark IIB. We're going to go back to it in a sec. 307 miles per hour, rate of climb 13.3. And regular Mark IIB is 307 miles per hour, rate of climb 13.3. So again, either a placeholder or it just has the same stats. But we'll go back to the Hurricane Mark IIB, check its modifications. It says it's armed with 6 rockets, and you can't choose to get rid of these. And it's got just default ammunition. I assume this will change. We did have this with the last dev server for patch 1.49. You just couldn't change the ammo loadouts for some reason, but I'm assuming that's going to change in the future, when, you know, future dev servers. And it does look very nice. Nice camouflage, nice model. Looks, you know, detailed. So, yeah, it looks very nice. What other aircraft has Russia got? They've got another... well, it's all premiums, actually. It's all premiums or new models. The Yak-3 VK107. So, Yak-3 VK107, armed with two 20mm cannons, both are different types. Yak-3P has something similar. And that's armed with 3 cannons. Max speed 403, rate of climb 18.5. Again, same stats, or it's a placeholder, but we'll look at it. It's got 1 less cannon, so maybe it's going to be more manoeuvrable if these are placeholders. And this model looks very nice. This definitely looks very well detailed. This is probably one of the better looking models I've seen so far. We'll look at modifications first, and this does have all its ammunition loadout, so we've got that. Again, universal. You've got your high explosives and your fragmentation incendiary, armor piercing incendiary. Can't see much else other than that. You've got your armor. Again, it just seems to be... They've got these weird names for it. Other than that, I can't see anything different, really. You've got one of your guns firing out through the air and another firing above. Again, it's a nice little premium. Again, I don't really fly Russian that much, so for me it's not that big a deal, but it does look very nice as a model, and I think it'll probably be an okay premium. Battle rating 5.7, as by the way, turn time 17.2 seconds. We've already looked at the max speed and rate of climb. And the other change for the Russia was the R23 R2M, Type 3 new model. Customization. Don't think there's any differences to it. And this looks a very good model. Forget what I said about the Yak-3. This is probably the next best model I've seen. Although it's a bit blurry around the stars, so maybe not the best. But again, it looks very good. I don't know if this camouflage is new. I haven't actually flown the Type 3 since they added it, or changed the name, or I can't remember what they did to it. Again, armour seems to... they've changed the armour, because they did say the armour was being changed on one of the new R2s. It was like the most detailed yet. I'm guessing they've done the same here. I don't know if the actual armour itself is any different, but they've got new names on it, so I'm guessing either that's happened to all armour in the game, or they've specifically changed this one. But I don't think there's any other differences. Go to X-ray. It doesn't seem to be any differences. So that's all of Russia's vehicles changes. So we're just going to move on to the Germans quickly and see what they've got. They've got a whole 2 new models. They've got a premium R2. We'll look at that first. They've also got a few new other models and 1 new aircraft, which we'll look at. So we're just waiting for the R2 to load up. So here's the R2. And this does look a very good model, but I do have to ask why this was needed. I don't mind premiums or capture premiums being added, you know, if it's needed, but I'm not sure this particularly was needed. This has much thinner armour than the R2 Type 3. Other than that, it just seems to have a German camouflage. I don't know, I don't think this was actually needed. It's a battle rating of 3. I assume it's the same stats as the regular R2. I'll quickly check. 263 miles per hour top speed, 8.3 rate of climb. Yeah, the same stats pretty much. We'll check the modifications. Doesn't carry any rockets, just bombs. You can change the ammunition loadout, which is good, but it doesn't carry any rockets, just bombs. I don't know if that's like that on the 1942 variant or of the on the Russian tech tree. Okay, so it doesn't have as much of a loadout. I suppose that's one good thing. I suppose you can get... I don't mind this so much if you can get the premium version, but it isn't as good as the regular version. Again, I'm not sure this was particularly needed, but I suppose I can live with it. I mean, at the end of the day, you don't have to actually go out and buy it if you don't want it. Now, this new aircraft, the Dornier 17E1, I've been looking forward to new German bombers. I was hoping it was going to be the 177, but this is a good bomber as well. It's a very long bomber. It's got a very unusual shape. I was actually on the coast of England, and you could see the barge where they were actually pulling one of these up, because they found one off the coast of southeast coast. Can't remember where it was now, but you could see the barge, and that was a few days before they actually brought it up. We'll check the armour on this. It doesn't say there's no armour present, but it doesn't show any, so I'm guessing there's no armour. It's got two gunners, got a rear gunner at the top and a rear gunner at the bottom, and you've got a pilot who does seem to have his own machine gun, so that's pretty good, although it's a low caliber machine gun. Stats 1.7, need 4000 RP, max speed 217 miles per hour, turn time 33 seconds, and rate of climb 4.0 meters a second. So this is an early variant. It does seem pretty slow. I don't know. It's a good addition for the low tiers. It does shake things up a bit because we had the Junkers 88 and the HE 111, so it's good to have the Dorniers to join in. But it'll be a nice little aircraft in the early tiers. I'm hoping we get some of the later models because I believe this is an early model. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to using this aircraft. The only other changes, I think they've changed some of the. I thought they'd changed some of this about. The placement of some of the aircraft, but I could be wrong. There was three. They've unfolded a lot of stuff. The MC202 and the HE112 V5. But the only other major change is the model of the E1 and E3. So we'll check that out quick. We're getting the E1. It does look like a new model, but it's mainly around the wings and the glass. The rest of it does look a bit faded. I don't know, it does look pretty good, but I think the new modelling was more affected on some of the other aircraft. But again, it's good to see new changes and new models being added. Because we did have a lot of old, not very nice looking models. Well, they were nice looking, but you could tell they weren't, as good as they could be. We go to the E3. Again, pretty much the same as the E1. Looks really good glass and the wings. Fuselage looks okay. Again, a bit of a faded X, but again, it does look like a pretty good aircraft. And although you can't see the improvements as much as with some of the other aircraft, perhaps. So that's pretty much all the new German aircraft. So now we just go to America. Again, we look at the new model aircraft, the F2A1 and the A3, I believe. Customization. And again, you can see there's a new model, but some of the writing does seem a bit faded. I don't know if this little bottle thing at the back was there before. That may be a new addition. Again, it looks very nice, and you can see the detail in the engine here. So again, a welcome change, and it is good to see these models updated. And we'll check the A3 quick before we go on to the new aircraft. Again, nice detail around the engine. Again, a very good improvement. Again, some of the insignia seems a bit faded, but it's a very good change, and I do like it. And it is good that Gaijin is going back and updating some of the previous stuff. And the new aircraft, there's the A36, which is supposed to be a dive bomber, and it is in the attacker line, but it's labelled as a fighter for some reason. Battle rating 3, max speed 392 miles an hour, turn time 20 seconds, rate of climb 13.1. Give you a little look at the aircraft. I think, yeah, like I said, I think this was meant to be a dive bomber based on the P-51. Could be wrong. But it doesn't carry any bombs, and you can't change the um, belts. It's just stuck on default ammunition belt. Seems a bit odd. Yeah, I don't know how to explain now. I assume they just haven't implemented it all fully. And there's this weird little thing at the top here. I assume that's some sort of air intake to cool the aircraft engine or something. I'm not a huge expert on aircraft, as you can probably guess. And the other new aircraft is the SB2C1C, which is a dive bomber again, battle rating 3.3, two 20mm cannons and a 7.62mm Browning in the back. So stats, yeah, battle rating 3.3, need 11,000 RP, max speed 273, turn time 25.5, and rate of climb 9.8. Check the armour. Again, there's a decent amount of armour on it. 20mm, but it's not going to protect you that much, but better than nothing. Show the X-ray. Again, pilot and gunner. You know, just your standard setup. Oh, before we forget, modifications. Again, it doesn't seem to have a bomb load. This is odd. I mean, they have actually labelled it as a dive bomber / naval bomber, but it doesn't have any bombs. Again, and you can't change the loadout for ammunition. I'm going to assume this is just, they just haven't added it into the dev server yet. So that's pretty much it with regards to aircraft, and it's pretty good that they're going back and updating the old models. Again, not as many additions with regards to aircraft as with the previous patch where we got the British Fleet Air on, but pretty good additions. Early tier German bombers, some later tier Japanese aircraft, which are sorely needed for Japan. What additions would I like to have seen? Possibly the Hawker Hunter. That's something that's been called for a while. I was kind of hoping against hope that the Italian aircraft tech tree would be added. This was originally meant to be added at the beginning of the year, but it was kind of pushed back, and I was hoping it would be, released in this patch, or at least some information about it in this patch, but so far we haven't really heard anything, unfortunately. Now, I'm going to split the episode into two parts. This episode was dealing with the planes. The next episode, I'm going to be dealing with the tanks, just to keep it a decent length and, so it doesn't get all convoluted and time-wise. But yeah, thanks for watching this episode. I hope you follow the link to the next episode when that's up. Like I said, hope you enjoyed the episode. Leave a like if you did. Subscribe if you like these sorts of videos. Leave feedback. Could always do with more feedback. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.